Wobbly Life's museums are one of the most time-consuming and boring tasks to complete. But what if I told you you could know how to do them and complete them within a week? That's where this guide comes in. The museum has exactly 67 artifacts, 55 in the World Museum and 12 in the Space Museum. There are also 16 collections, 13 in the World Museum and 3 in the Space Museum. Sounds overwhelming, doesn't it? Well, trust me, I'm going to make this so easy for you. I'll have clear and easy to follow directions so you can follow along without even having to watch the video. I'll keep my pace so there are no long drawn out parts of the video. I'm also going to get rid of my jetpack, helicopter hat, and moon boots. That way I can prove to you that even when you have absolutely nothing, you can complete the museums before you can even get a house. There will be timestamps in the video so you can skip to the collection you are struggling on, and if you still need help, you can comment on and I'll try to help you out. But without further ado, let me begin with a little lesson for you. This is an artifact. You can see it has this yellow glow around it which no other item in the game has. This means it is an artifact that you have not yet donated to the museum. This is an artifact as well, but it doesn't have the iconic yellow glow around it. Why is that? You see, it means that it is an artifact. However, you have already donated it, meaning it doesn't need to have the significant glow anymore, which removes a lot of confusion. Same go for the space artifacts, but instead, they have a blue glow. This little hint makes it easy to separate artifacts from regular world objects. Let's also talk about what happens when you get an artifact. When you complete a treasure hunt and dig up the reward, a little sound plays. This also happens when you dig up any treasure in the game. Followed by that sound, another little jingle plays. Now this determines if you got an artifact or not, and during your grind, you'll be hearing it a lot, so let's go through them. The sound that is about to play is a sound for when you get treasure, not an artifact. A single note. However, this sound means that you did get an artifact. A series of notes. Notice the difference? That will decide if you end this job happy or disappointed. It doesn't take very much. However, not every artifact is like this. There are multiple artifacts that don't require treasure hunting in order to find them, but the main aspect we are going to focus on is treasure hunting. Speaking of which, let's get more technical. Now, before we begin our guide, I'm going to show you some of the optimal locations for where you're going to want to be looking for your treasure. In Lost Island, there are a few areas where you will not want to be looking for treasure. Mainly in this area and this area. The reason why we veer away from these areas is because of lots of hard to traverse terrain, which makes it hard to search for treasure in a large area. Now, let's go over the different scenarios on where your treasure might be marked and how to deal with each one. Let's say your treasure is marked over here, in the corner. Notice how over half of the area in the circle is covered with water from the ocean. We know there's not going to be treasure inside the water. We can rule out that entire area of water, making the circle incredibly small since you wouldn't be interacting with the water since you know there's going to be no treasure there. Same goes for this one. You can see there's just a little bit of water, but that still means that the circle is smaller than it would originally be. So now you know that you'd only be looking in this area since you wouldn't be over in the water interacting with the water looking for treasure. Another example would be this image. You can see it's inside of the island, but there's a big river going through the entire island, which means everything around that river, or in the river, in fact, would be no treasure. And since you know there wouldn't be treasure in there, you wouldn't be interacting with the water in the river looking for treasure. So if you are to pick a treasure map, make sure to pick one that is near water and has lots of water inside of the circle. It really makes treasure hunting way easier. Now, let's go over the treasures that you may find in Main Island, and we'll go over all of the ones there too. In the Main Island, it is way bigger, so there's plenty of more spaces for treasure to be found. But there is also a lot of water. Treasure can be all the way from Farm Island to all the way down to the bottom right corner of the Village Island. For example, you probably don't want one that looks like this. As you can see, it has lots of different land levels, which makes it very hard to explore, It is on water, but it is also inside that big quarry, and it could also be on the surface, and it could also be on the road going down into the shipyard. Your best bet would be something like this, where it is clear where the treasure could possibly be. Only thing you have to do is look at two islands. You get to look at the very right edge of the main island and the very left edge of Village Island. Since there is a river splitting them both, it will be pretty simple to find the treasure, because you wouldn't be around inside the river, as we've learned already. Now let's look at the third and final location, in the forest. This location is also pretty big, and it is about as big as the main island, but not quite. So you can have treasure locations all the way to the far left corner, even on those small islands up at the top. So what you're going to want to be looking for is probably one on those islands. Your best bet is one over there. What you don't want, though, is something like this. You can see that on either ends of the island, on the top end of the mountain island, and on the bottom end of the small island up at the top. It can be on either of those two locations, and that means you're going to have to travel very long ways. So even though it has a lot of water in there, that still means you're going to have to travel a long way. What you will really want to be looking for is something like this, where almost 3/4 of the circle is water, which is very useful. And your best bet, possibly your best thing that you could possibly be looking for, is right over here, where you can see all you have to look for is just that bit right there. That's literally it. That's the only thing you need to look for. And if you get one of those, or anything on those islands except for this, then you're doing pretty good. So, what you might want to do on the mainland is, for example, something like this might not be very good for you. Let's take a look at that. So, if you see here, we have mountain, a lower mountain, and an even lower mountain level than that. So you're going to have to explore through 3 different levels of mountain terrain, which is absolutely terrible for any treasure hunting, and it will take almost an hour to look for all that. And I'm not exaggerating. Over on the cabin area, you can see it's also pretty simple over there. It's just a lot of land to look through, so there's nothing stopping you from going there if you really want to. But anyway, with that is all the optimal locations for where you're going to be finding your treasure and where to look. Now, let's start with prep. What you're going to want to do is just one mining job. If you're good at it, you can get about $100 from it. Also, don't cheat it. If you get treasure, you'll get at least $75, which is just enough to start another treasure hunt. You do not need to be a millionaire to start treasure hunting. And in the rare chance where you do need to get more money, just repeat another mining job and get more. The rewards you can get from treasure hunting are pretty generous, so if you actually need money, also for future reference, use the hard map difficulty no matter what. It gives you significantly better artifact chance, and it will take you so long to get one if you're using medium or easy. All it does is make the hunting circle bigger. Anyway, the rewards you can get are pretty generous, so let's go over them. Copper items go for $25, silver items go for $50, and golden items go for $75. On the off chance that you do get an artifact, especially one you already have, do not just throw it in the ocean. You can sell those off too for $100 each. Now, sorry for boring you, just know that all this teaching is necessary. Not like, calculus. Now that you're ready to step into the world of artifacts, we can finally begin this guide. This is the complete Wobbly Life Museums guide. Enjoy. The treasure collection has 4 artifacts. One of them is found via treasure hunting. The first artifact can be found on a treasure hunt on the main island. The second artifact can be found in the mines, but it does take a while and some random chance. What you're going to want to do is start a mining shift and go to the main room. Put your face up against the wall and enter free cam to move towards the wall and click through it. Look around to try to find some uranium. If you don't have any, quit the job and start again. If you do find it, locate it, and mine it. If you don't get the artifact, still deposit the ore for some good money. You know you have it once you mine it, and the second item comes out with the iconic yellow glow. Third artifact can be found on the main island. Just drive around hitting trash cans until a scroll pops out, and that will be your artifact. The fourth and final artifact is found anywhere where you can find a pot. However, I'm going to be doing it in the temple because there are many there. Just break every pot you see until this golden goblet comes out. It is quite rare though, so don't be surprised if it does take a while. The gold collection has 4 artifacts. 2 of them are found via treasure hunting. The first can be found in the pawn shop in the main island. You need $500 to buy it, so just a few jobs to do it if you don't have that already. The second bit can be found on a treasure hunt in the jungle, and it is the golden necklace. The third can be found in a secret room unlocked during a thunderstorm. First, wait by this lake in the jungle until a thunderstorm happens. Then, head to the island that comes up once there is a thunderstorm, grab the sword, and make your way to the backside of the mountain by boat. You'll eventually find a cave in the mountain. Head inside the monument, and put your sword inside. The door will open up and the artifact will be in the room inside. The fourth and final artifact can be found on a treasure hunt up north, and it is the golden pants. The Dinosaurs collection has 5 artifacts. 3 of them are found via treasure hunting. The first one can be found on a treasure hunt in the jungle, and it is a dinosaur's footprint. The second one can be found on a treasure hunt up north, and it is a dinosaur's fossilized claw. The third one can be found in a mountain base. Just go up into the shrinking machine in the lab, and head towards the open cabinet. Once you're there, go behind the wall and fall to the ground level. In there, you'll find the artifact. The fourth one can be found using a metal detector on an X near the toxic facility, just underneath the green energy billboard. The fifth and final one can be found on a treasure hunt in the jungle, and it is a dinosaur's fossilized poop. The Ice Cave collection has 4 artifacts. None of them are found by a treasure hunt. The first one can be found by going down to the penguin shops after going down the slides a bit, buying a chisel, and going back up to the entrance. Once you're in there with the chisel, go to the right instead of the left and you'll find a room with an ice block. Break it with the chisel and get your artifact. The second one can be found by bringing a fish to the penguin shops and giving it to the one with the sign that has a hockey stick and a fish on it. The third one can be found by bringing a metal detector to the penguin shops and using on the X near the igloos. The fourth and final one can be found by going down to the penguin shops and buying an ice pick and using it on the cracked wall in the same room. After breaking the wall, you can ring the gong and open up a new part of the cave. When you go down, make sure to stop and make sure you're on the right path that has a bunch of snow around it. When you go down, you'll find the artifact inside of the Yeti's cave. The Ocean collection has 4 artifacts. None of them are found via treasure hunting. The first one can be found by fishing in the coral reefs around the jungle for a while. Keep in mind that it is random and you will be there for a while. The second one can be found by fishing in the deep ocean. Also note you can see which zone you are fishing on in the top right corner of the screen. The third one can be found by fishing on the shore of the Paradise Island beach. The fourth and final one can be found by fishing on or near the shipwreck in the river between the main island and Paradise Island. The Wizard collection has 4 artifacts. None of them are found via treasure hunting. Before you start, find the wizard in one of the 4 locations on the map. I have them marked here. When you find him, buy the potion. Light blue potion, red potion, and yellow potion. Bag them up as well so you don't break them. The first one can be found under the train bridge in the village island. It needs a purple potion broken near the design to get it. The second can be found behind the rightmost hangar on the top of the mountain airport, and it needs a light blue potion. The third can be found behind the lighthouse in the forest. It needs a red potion. The fourth and final one can be found behind a building on the leftmost side of the docks. It needs a yellow potion. The Dinosaur collection has 4 artifacts. 2 of them are found via treasure hunting. The first one can be found by getting a bomb and taking it to this cave entrance on the west shore of the jungle island. If you place the bomb next to this mist-colored and broken rock near the entrance, the artifact will pop out. The second one can be found on a treasure hunt in the main island, and it is the dinosaur's arm. The third one can be found on a treasure hunt up north, and it is the dinosaur's leg. The fourth and final one can be found using a metal detector on an X behind this orange house on the farm island. The Sewers collection has 4 artifacts. None of them are found via treasure hunting. Before starting, you're going to have to get a sewer license from the mayor's house. To To do that, you need to first talk to the person in front of the main sewers entrance in the docks. Then, go to the mayor's house and answer the 5 questions. Here are the answers. 1. Climb around it carefully. 2. Fix the hole with your wrench. 3. Jump into a sewer exit pipe. 4. Report the criminal to the police. And 5. Leave it alone. As for a quick note, make sure to use the exit pipe to leave with your artifacts. The first artifact can be found in the bottom right corner of the docks, in the sewer. Explore around the walls until you find the artifact. The second artifact can be found in the shed in the farm island. You'll need to destroy the hay bales inside in order to get it. Then turn to the right once you're inside and you'll find the artifact. The third artifact can be found at the end of the runway at the mountain airport. Explore around until you have this room where you'll find the artifact. The fourth and final artifact can be found at this area in the golf course in Paradise Island. It is quite dark, so you'll need a lantern, and make sure to avoid tentacles along your way. Explore until you find this room where the artifact will be. The early Wobblys collection has 5 artifacts. 3 of them are found via treasure hunting. The first one can be found on a treasure hunt in the main island, and it is the spear. The second one can be found bringing a metal detector on an X up this mountain of trampolines by the coast of the main island. Just 2 trampolines from the top, you'll find the X underneath one. The third one can be found on a treasure hunt in the main island, and it is the stone pizza. The fourth one can be found by destroying hay bales in the farm island, and it is a random drop, so no single hay bale is going to give you the artifact. The fifth and final one can be found on a treasure hunt in the jungle, and it is the club. The Paradise Island collection has 4 artifacts. None of them are found via treasure hunting. The first can be found in a cave on the south side of the island. To get to it, drive across this cliffside until you find a cave that looks like this. Do the parkour inside, and it's yours. The second can be found after getting a key in the hedge maze. Just follow my moves to get to it. When you have the key, drive to the golf club and open the cabinet to get it. The third can be found using the artifact you just got on the statue of the golfer. Just make the club touch the stone ball and you'll get it. The fourth and final one can be found using this zip line to the rooftops and doing some jumps over to this balcony where the artifact will be there on the table. The jungle collection has 4 artifacts. 2 of them are found via treasure hunting. The first can be found on a treasure hunt in the jungle, and it is the tiki mask. The second can be found in the temple. When you get past the area of the rolling rocks, go through the halls until you find a brown bomb. Don't worry, it won't blow up if you drop it. Third can be found on a treasure hunt up north, and it is the stone wobbly. The fourth and final one can be found in the wild in the jungle. Just follow my moves to get to it. The Caves collection has 4 artifacts. None of them are found via treasure hunt. The first can be found in a cave underneath the bridge between the mountain island and the main island. Just solve the puzzle to go deeper in the cave. You do this by inputting the stone that matches the one needed. Keep in mind that some may be inside pots that you need to break to get them. Also note that the ones you'll have to get are going to be different. It is random. After completing the puzzle, make your way further into the cave, and after mining the gem wall, you will get the other. The second can be found in a cave in the forest just underneath the mountain. To get it, you'll need to drop a bomb into the hole 3 times. Once you do that, the wall will break open and you can mine another gem wall to get the artifact. The third can be found in a cave on the south side of Paradise Island. To get it, you need to mine a safe path through the blue crystals in order to get to the other side. If you fall, just exit the cave from another higher side again. When you succeed, mine the gem wall to get the artifact. The fourth and final one can be found in a cave around the waterfall in the forest. To get it, you need to press all 3 buttons to activate a path to the artifact. When you do, mine the gem wall to get the artifact. The Fossils collection has 5 artifacts. 3 of them are found via treasure hunting. This is also the last artifact collection in the World Museum. The first can be found on a treasure hunt in the jungle, and it is the fossilized leaf. The second can be found on a treasure hunt up north, and it is a fossilized bug. The third can be found on a treasure hunt in the main island, and it is a fossilized shell. The fourth can be found bringing a metal detector to an X on the beach, north of the jungle. The fifth and final one can be found bringing a metal detector to an X on the south beach of the upper jungle island. With that, you have just completed the World Museum. Enjoy your brand new flying car. But this guide doesn't end there. We still have a whole other museum to do, and it is in space. In order to get to space, you'll first need to fork up $500 to get a space license, but you can easily get that after a few mining jobs. Then, complete the test chambers and head off to space, where we can complete the Space Museum. The Space Museum has 12 artifacts, and luckily for us, treasure hunting isn't in space. You just need to find these artifacts, and they're actually pretty easy. The Historic Space Collection has 4 artifacts. The first one can be found by going to the Lost and Found on the 3rd story of the spaceport. In the back corner, you'll find the artifact. The second one can be found in the black hole on the southwestern side of space. Once there, go to the left side of the big blue crystal, and around the back, you'll find a small rock where the artifact is sitting there. The third one can be found on the right side of Larry's garage. Down below, there are some rocks that lead to a singular one where the artifact is waiting there. The fourth and final one can be found after getting the abandoned ship quest from Cadet Aurora and getting the key card to access the ship's doors. If you go to where it is split near the cockpit, you'll find this meeting room where the artifact is on the table. The Mysterious Space Collection has 4 artifacts. The first one can be found underneath the Space Diner, where around the back of the big booster is where you'll find it. The second one can be found by first going to the mining asteroid and starting a job. In the job, find 1 nebulite ore. It is purple and glows. Once you find it, take it with you back up to the surface. Then, bring it to the storage bay under the Space Mall and put it in the antimatter machine. That is when you'll get the artifact. Also, as a little Easter egg, you can jump into the black hole as it is displayed in the museum, and you can see what it looked like when Grandma first kicked you out of the house. The third one can be found by going into the mining asteroid and starting a job. This time, go until you find a big room with a central hole, and a higher shelf of the cave above you. Go up to the higher shelf, and on the platform in the corner, you'll find a blue ore. Mine it, and the artifact will pop out. The fourth and final one can be found by bringing a pickaxe, which you can get in the upper mines on the mining asteroid, to this small asteroid down below everything else. When you go inside the hole, you'll find a gem wall. Mine it, and the artifact is yours. The Natural Space Collection has 4 artifacts. It is also the last artifact collection, not only of the Space Museum, but of this guide. The first one can be found behind this rock formation on the series of asteroids of purple vegetation, where you have to light up the towers, in between Larry's garage and the mining asteroid. The second one can be found in the Space Bug Nest, located between the asteroid village and the robot facility. Inside, you'll need to climb your way up to get to the space bug. After talking to it, go up the small pathway off the regular path, and inside you'll find the artifact. The third one can be found in the asteroid village, in a cave behind the northern blue house. Inside the cave, there is a place where you can fish. After a while, you'll fish up the artifact. The fourth and final one can be found in a cave between the Manning asteroid and the Space Gardens. Inside the crack between them, make your way around the cave until you find a beautiful room where the artifact is in the middle. That does it. That is every single artifact in the game. Now you'll never have to worry about the museums ever again. In fact, your prize at the museum is a daily space credit prize. I guess to wrap up, I could say that this video is probably my biggest one yet. Not longest, but the one that took the most effort to make. That's why I haven't posted in 2 months. But anyways, I really hope this guide was able to help you guys out, and if it did, feel free to like it to push more people that may need help to this video, and subscribe so you don't miss if I post another guide. If you have any other questions, just go ahead and ask in the comments, and I'll try my best to help you out. I also want to say thank you all for 7,000 subscribers. I honestly can't believe it. And anyways, with that guys, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I creating it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye!